Okay, now so the summer movie season has ended and yep, it's Oscar season time. And with that, I'm working with to another episode of the Romance Room. My goal, as always, is to enhance the movie watching experience. So at Astra is the newest science fiction film here dealing with space exploration. So right away, it has me because I love that kind of thing. I'm a huge sci-fi fan, and particularly when it comes to space and exploring space and et cetera, et cetera. There's a genre that's been done to death here. So I'm always looking forward to someone bringing something new to the table. And we have here a movie which has gotten a lot of positive attention. It's got a lot of rave reviews, particularly out of the last couple of film festivals the last few weeks. You hear the word Oscar being thrown out in association with this film, so naturally I'm going to be even more excited. Unfortunately, sometimes when you have those heightened expectations, when you hear such good reviews, there's always a chance of that inevitable potential letdown. Overall, I would say this: the attention it's gotten it's well deserved in some sense, and not much in other ways, and I'll get into that in a minute here. Now, I'll start with this. As far as this movie warranting the praise that it's gotten, it's because it's a technical achievement. It's a incredibly directed and put together film. It looks beautiful, it's fantastic. Some of the shots that they bring to you here are just fantastic. The sound design, the editing behind it, the score, all that is top notch. The world building it creates, when out into space, and it's, where they colonize the moon, how that is presented, all that works together, fantastic. This has got a very Kubrick kind of 2001 Odyssey kind of feel to and vibe to it throughout, and it's presented so well, and it deserves to be seen on the biggest screen possible, and I get the praise on that sense, and I'm completely in agreement with that. Along with that, Brad Pitt, who I think has been sensational. He doesn't have a lot in terms of dialogue, but it's his expressions, how he conveys what's going on, how he's feeling. He's top notch. I think this is as good as he's ever been. I will see him be nominated for an Oscar, and I'm okay with that. I thought he was even better here than it was in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, which I thought he was great in. And there's one of the particular good scenes that he had in there, which were just, wow, just one of the few scenes of emotion this movie actually had, which is one of the problems, which I'll get to in a moment. But himself, he's top notch, and he's in the movie about 99% of the time. So it's really his show. The other stars, Liv Tyler's in it for a little bit, Ruth Negga's in for a little bit, but for the most part, this is really Brad Pitt's show. Now, I'll mention this because I don't think this is a negative, but it's a very slow burn here. This is a very methodically, slowly paced film. It has a cadence to it, so for me, it never really felt slow. But I could see general audiences not really latching onto that. You think sci-fi adventure or space, sci-fi film, you think big explosions, grandiose things are going on, and that's not what this movie is about. It's a very intimate film about what it explores ideas of not only going through what Brad Pitt's going in terms of the abandonment and his father and et cetera, and how he's feeling and why he is the way he is, exploring our place in the universe, in relation to God or vice versa, and explore some of that subject matter very subtly. And I thought the movie could have done more to kind of take a deeper dive into that. But that being said, some people might be turned off by that. If you're not into that slow burn, this movie isn't for you, despite the great visuals. Now, there are a couple great, really great scenes. The opening sequence is fantastic. There's a scene about 45 minutes into the movie, more or less. We're doing the moon. A great action sequence in there, one of the few action sequences in the film, which is awesome. It's top notch. It's so well crafted, so well shot, and that really got me into the movie. But then it kind of slows down again, and I get it. It's a movie which really makes you feel what space travel will feel like, very lonely, isolated, and I get that, and it presented that very well. I was okay with it. I enjoyed that part, to be honest with you. Some people may not, so buyer beware when it comes to that. My issue with the story, with the story itself, where I don't think this doesn't deserve a lot of the praise that it's getting in terms, particularly with Oscar. I can see it getting nominated, but it's just the beginning of the season. There's a lot of movies between now and then. They're going to come out. They're going to garner a lot of Oscar contention here. And for me anyway, there was no emotional impact with the film. Brad Pitt's character, he's very emotionally closed off, and I understand why. With the exception of one great scene I mentioned earlier, he's not a very relatable character. In the movie itself is not one that you find yourself emotionally vested in, leading to kind of an ambiguous ending, so to speak, and anticlimactic to some degree. You kind of wanted more, particularly for some of the ideas it was trying to present. And I get what they were trying to do here, but it's not a very It doesn't grip you emotionally. Visually, technically speaking, top notch. No question, probably one of the best films from the year, just from that standpoint. But overall, I thought I missed the mark. Not to say this is a bad movie, because it's not. I enjoy this movie, and I'm still recommending you guys watch it as long as you don't mind the slow, methodical pace. If that doesn't bother you, great, because this is almost like an art house movie disguised as a big budget Hollywood film. But at the end of the day, it's very core. It's an art house film, which is why I think it's getting a lot of critical praise. I think the casual fan might not really buy much into that. So it's a movie I recommend. If you're a huge cinephile, you like that kind of independent type of feel to the movie, absolutely go watch it. If you're expecting something a little more big budget, something a little more exciting, probably better off watching at home. But overall, it's still an excellent movie. If it does get an Oscar nomination, fine, I get it. And it would deserve in some areas to get that kind of praise. Great film. Great performance by Brad Pitt. It didn't have the emotional punch I wanted, that connection to really make you engage and feel or care about what's really going on, as opposed to just watching Brad Pitt trying to struggle to find his father and the meaning behind his disappearance. So all in all, good film, just not one that I wanted to love and I didn't. Doesn't mean you guys won't. Again, buyer beware in terms of keeping your expectations down in terms of what kind of movie you're watching. It's a good sci-fi, cerebral film, just not an action film, and the trailers can be a little bit misleading towards that. So at Astra, should you guys watch it? I think you still should go watch it, if not in the theaters, then at home. Of course, comment below, let me know what you guys thought. And of course, if you haven't done so already, subscribe below and feed money to go to the movies and talk about it afterwards. See you guys next time.